It's been a busy week in the Inland Northwest, so let's get you caught up with the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for being here with us. Over the next half hour, we'll take a look back at some of the news you might have missed from the past week. So let's get started with one of the biggest stories from the Inland Northwest.
1 month after Dan Arrotta died piloting his private plane from Spokane to Lincoln, Montana to visit his family, new details are emerging. Tonight, the National Transportation Safety Board released a preliminary report about the crash. Arrotta was flying in a Cirrus aircraft, a plane aviation consultant Scott Hamilton says has a good reputation.
It's one of the most advanced airplanes out there for private aviation.
Documents show Arrotta left Spokane in his plane just after 8 p.m. on October 24th. He was headed to the Lincoln Airport in Montana to meet his brother for a fishing trip. It's a flight that documents show he'd never made before.
He had never been there before. He was going in after dark, into a terrain area that he's not familiar with.
Data analysis revealed the plane aborted its landing when approaching the runway. Arrotta got a warning he was too close to the ground and tried to speed up power and turn the plane. But documents show at that point, the plane was no longer able to sustain flight. He crashed in a wooded area less than 4,000 feet away from the runway. Hamilton says while the report reveals new information, it doesn't answer a big question.
It sounds in the preliminary report like there was not a power failure, but we still don't understand why the airplane was so slow when it was doing that missed approach.
Hamilton says other information, including an autopsy, toxicology test, and plane maintenance, will likely be released when the investigation is complete. He says property maintenance is a major factor to consider when looking at a plane's design and safety, despite the Cirrus's reputation.
It's an advanced airplane, and an airplane in many respects is only as safe as the maintenance, which is why the NTSB...
I'm outside Spokane City Hall, where council members have some tough decisions ahead on where cuts can be made to the proposed biennium budget. Under the current budget modifications, roughly 20 city staff positions are on the line.
Nobody's going to be happy with this budget, so everybody will feel some pain and disappointment going forward.
Spokane City Council President Betsy Wilkerson made it clear she wants to keep all city council staff positions fully funded. Early on, council floated the idea of cutting 3 of its central staff positions. But now that council members know a 1-year 0.5% utility tax increase would bring in $1.5 million in revenue, Wilkerson says those staff cuts shouldn't be needed.
To lose that historical knowledge and relationships again, which you cannot put a price tag on, in my opinion, I think would be extremely challenging for our community as we continue to grow and evolve and our needs continue to change.
I just really struggle with not having council be a leader on sharing the pain across the city. Fully restoring that funding is minimal impact to the council operations.
As for the library, most council members support restoring some funding. But with cuts still anticipated, Wilkerson is asking for more information.
Give me some data on which libraries are highly utilized on Sundays. So if there had to be cuts, they can be very targeted cuts.
I asked Spokane Library Director Andrew Chance about this.
It really depends on the location, the neighborhood. Certainly Sundays, we're only open 4 hours out of that day, but it's still a busy day.
Still, he hopes to see no cuts to the library at all.
The people have already said that this is the service, this is the level of service that they want.
Council will discuss a variety of budget amendments at its meeting on Monday. The goal is to approve a biennium budget before the end of the year. Reporting from Spokane City Hall, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Each weekend, we walk you through headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest.
Theodore Waymiller and Samuel Hopper are both facing 2 counts of first-degree assault charges for an incident that happened here at the intersection of 2nd and Wall in downtown Spokane.
I know he's a warm-hearted person.
Samuel Hopper's father spoke before a Spokane County judge Wednesday afternoon as his son appeared in court along with Theodore Waymiller. Both men, confirmed to be students at Gonzaga University, are charged with assault after Spokane police say they threw a lit firework from a car near 2nd and Wall in downtown Spokane. Police say it happened just after midnight on November 8th. The suspects, they say, drove away right after. Investigators later released this photo of the car as they asked for tips identifying the people inside. The firework flew into a group of bystanders, hurting 2 people identified in court documents as David Best and a teenage girl referred to as JG. That firework, court documents show, landed on JG's lap. Best grabbed the firework and tried to throw it away when it exploded in his hand. He was taken to Deaconess Hospital, where documents reveal massive injuries to his hand prompted doctors to send him to Harborview Hospital in Seattle for surgery. As of Wednesday night, Spokane police officers say he's still recovering from severe injuries. JG received a small burn on her finger that documents show didn't require medical attention.
And that is mostly because of the heroics of this gentleman who jumped in and removed that device from her.
Both Hopper and Waymiller turned themselves into police Wednesday morning, more than a week after the incident. Both were booked into the Spokane County Jail. Hopper's attorney argued the alleged action was random, and his client came forward after hearing about the seriousness to Best's injuries.
My first phone call with him took quite a bit of time to get through because of the emotions that he was displaying after hearing about somebody was injured.
The judge scheduled both Waymiller and Hopper's arraignment for November 25th at 9:30 a.m., while also saying the crime in question is worrisome for the community.
The question for the court is the nature of these particular allegations. These particular allegations are remarkably concerning.
Tonight, GU released a statement following their court appearance, saying in part, Gonzaga University was deeply saddened to learn that 2 GU students may have been involved in a violent incident that occurred in downtown Spokane earlier this month, in which a person was seriously injured. The university extends our prayers and concern for the injured, as well as all who were traumatized. You can read the full statement on our website. Both suspects' bonds are each set at $25,000. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
The final live test of this new AI system happened just a few hours ago here at Shrek. Soon, when you call Crime Check, the voice you hear won't belong to an actual human.
You have reached Crime Check.
About 250,000 calls come into Spokane County's Crime Check every year. A popular but sometimes misunderstood tool, says Kim Arredondo.
It's well known in our community and we advertise it well, which is good. But what that does is it becomes a one-stop shop for any questions that they might have. And as silly as it might sound, we've had people call to see how hot to cook their turkey at.
Thousands of calls that will now be answered by artificial intelligence.
That call won't actually hit our communications officer unless they need a person.
Instead, an AI bot will ask questions, triaging what needs a police or fire response.
How can I help you?
I'd like to get a copy of my police report.
And saving time by connecting Crime Check callers to the right resource, even outside agencies like State Patrol or Scraps. Nearly 30% of all calls to the non-emergency line aren't active crimes at all.
And so that AI will give them the information they need. They don't have to wait. They get the information and then they can contact the right resource.
But real emergencies do come through Crime Check. More than half of its calls require immediate response. Arredondo says the AI bot is trained to send those calls to a live communications officer.
It's going to free up the lines so we can triage the emergency calls.
AI will not answer calls to 911. It also won't write reports. Trained human technicians will still do that.
There's no way, and from our perspective, that AI could ever replace those people. That's where you get the compassion and the empathy and the understanding and that critical thinking.
Shrek expects to roll out this new AI Crime Check before the end of the year. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week.
The Safe and Accessible Spaces Ordinance gives Spokane Police more discretion to clear unauthorized camping in the right-of-way and public property, just like the sidewalk I'm on right now. Now, I am told it seems to be working and that community members are feeling optimistic about the future of Spokane. Doyle Wheeler says he has witnessed firsthand the effects of Spokane's homeless and public camping crisis.
But our protocol was, if someone wants a tip jar, give it to them.
Wheeler owns First Avenue Coffee. He says issues like human feces, fentanyl, and disruptive behavior in his coffee shop have left him and his staff spending more time on the defense than on brewing coffee.
There's fentanyl wrappers, and I have to come down and clean it up. I'm not going to let my staff do that.
But for the last 3 weeks, Wheeler says he has seen a tremendous change, like cleaner streets, new customers, and a feeling of relief.
There's enthusiasm behind the bar, and then there's enthusiasm from the customer because we're all getting along. So I'd say there's a brand new spirit downtown that you can't hide, you can't deny.
Emily Cameron, the CEO of the Downtown Spokane Partnership, echoes Wheeler's sentiment.
We have heard across the board resounding positive feedback.
She adds that in 2024, more Spokane businesses were closing than opening, but now that trend is reversing. Jamal Morris was once unhoused after leaving treatment for his drug addiction early.
I mean, it was roofing walls and a cup of coffee in it, but it meant a lot. It was angelic. It was like really, really unexpected and really what I needed.
He says as patrols on public camping have increased, the Navigation Center has been a tool to help him figure out his next steps.
Finding my way to be a part of society and be somebody functioning, and it's hard, it can be hard, but nobody said it was going to be easy.
The operator of the center is Jules Helping Hands, and their director, Julie Garcia, tells me over 3,000 people have walked through the front door since the center first opened. As of now, 582 people have been fully enrolled within the city to receive or find services.
This space is designed to help navigate people into available beds and shelter systems and connect them to resources.
Spokane Police Chief Kevin Hall says the ordinance eased officers' frustrations, noting that previous laws didn't allow SPD to effectively police or clear public property. Now, Chief Hall says the ordinance is a tool for compassionate enforcement.
So that the officers who are actually very good at this can make a determination as they address somebody who's in violation of this ordinance. Is arrest the viable resolution? Is treatment the viable resolution? Or is referral to some other provider the best route to go?
Business owner Doyle Wheeler says he has witnessed SPD in action firsthand.
SPD officer is here within 3 minutes, and they're compassionately helping those people, and I've witnessed it. That makes my heart happy.
Chief Hall emphasized this is just one part of the puzzle.
So the Navigation Center finally gave us some place to send people when they ask, where do you want me to go? And now the officers can say, I got a place for you.
But 2 issues remain: people refusing resources and limited evening enforcement.
Nighttime, there just aren't enough beds, there aren't enough places for these folks to go. And that's the biggest gap in needs that we're seeing right now.
Now, along with the ordinance, most recently, Spokane City Council passed Mayor Lisa Brown's emergency declaration, which is meant to fast track for more additional shelter beds and treatment resources. Still, the city is finalizing contracts with those providers, and the story continues to develop. I'm reporting in downtown Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Tom Greif has served with Coeur d'Alene's fire department for 28 years, but this April he'll hang up his chief hat.
Why now?
At the beginning of the year, 2025, I was looking at talking with my wife and family, what's the next chapter look like? Change is difficult, but we were looking at, dates, and then we had a general obligation bond campaign last spring, and a ton of effort was put into that. And then, of course, the incident on June 29th.
Firefighters with Greif's department and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue were ambushed responding to a wildland fire. KCFR Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Coeur d'Alene Battalion Chief John Morrison were shot and killed. Coeur d'Alene engineer Dave Tisdall is still recovering.
Everybody tells you don't make any big life changes when something of that magnitude happens. And so I told myself I was going to let the emotions come back to earth.
But by September, he decided to let the city know it would need to start looking for his replacement. Greif has led the department as chief since February 2022. Before that, he was deputy chief. He says it's now time to focus on himself and his family.
What was it about this department and this community that just made you stay?
The quality of life here is amazing. Our biggest one is to raise a family here, and so I never had any desire to go any other place.
With 20 years as a department administrator, Greif says the biggest changes have been with the city and department's growth.
We had 2 fire stations. We had 7 people on a shift. And now today we're out working out of 4 fire stations. We have 63 line personnel.
While he's stepping back from public safety, Greif's not going into retirement.
So I'm not a retired person. I love walking the dogs, but that cannot be my mission of the day. So I have some opportunities that have popped up locally. I'm excited to see what that looks like.
And excited to stay in Coeur d'Alene, which has been and always will be home.
This community is just amazing. They trust us with their families. They have supported us in just year after year, whether it's good or bad. The community backs this fire department. I feel the next person that gets to sit in this seat is going to be as lucky as I've been.
Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Welcome back to the KREM 2 News, a week in review. I hope you're having a great weekend. Let's get back to one more story you might have missed this past week.
Wow, what a great Tom's Turkey Drive we had out here at Life Center. We gave away 500 meals, but the big push now to get the rest of the 8,500 meals is all going on this weekend. So we really need people to head down to Rosar stores, and for $25 you can. I'll tell you what, we couldn't make these meals so great without our fabulous local dairy farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, Dairy Gold dairy farmers. What do we call it? Dairy farmers of the Northwest? What do we say?
Dairy Farmers of Washington.
Dairy Farmers of Washington. I've got Stephanie right here, Ashley and Chloe. Mom, daughter, correct? Yep. And Ashley, you've been doing this ever since you were like a little girl, right?
Yeah, I've been part of Tom's Turkey Drive for forever. In high school, I made mashed potatoes on TV to show how we can use our butter and milk, and now my kids get to grow up watching us do this as well.
I love this. We should all know that our Dairy Gold milk, that's all done local. Those are all, you guys are running dairy farms right here.
Right now.
So Stephanie, you guys got a hold of us many years ago and said you wanted to be part of this. And so now we have a free half-gallon of donated milk, courtesy of Dairy Gold and Dairy Farmers of Washington.
Yeah, you and I have known each other a long time.
That's right. Lucky me.
So yeah, this is wonderful. We love, as dairy farmers, we love to support the community because they support us by buying our products. Yeah. So we want to give back to the community, and we're very happy to do that.
When we say buy local, we're talking Dairy Gold milk. We're talking about Dairy Gold dairy products, because you can't get any more local. You're in Deer Park, right?
Yes.
You're up in Elk.
We're just north of Deer Park a little way.
Chloe, you've been on the farm. I know you're not living at home anymore, but right, yeah.
I've been
so you've been out mucking stalls and
running tractors, hanging out with the cows all day.
I love you guys. Thank you so much. Just the greatest. And thank you for that fabulous donation to give everybody that great source of calcium and just good old, just great milk. Can't have a Thanksgiving dinner without milk, right?
No, you cannot.
So you fed 8,500 families this year. We're so very, very thankful to you. Again, the big push is coming up, and that is at Rosar's really this weekend. We need you to stop on by. $25 buys a family in need a complete Thanksgiving dinner. Back to you.
Keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. And don't forget, you can watch our latest newscasts anytime on your schedule on KREM 2 Plus. Download and watch right now for free. I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for watching KREM 2 News Week in Review.